Heinrich Steinmeier was a 17-year-old butcher's apprentice from a poor family in Silesia. The Second World War was raging, and like all the young men from all the countries involved, he was called up to leave home and fight. In August of 1944, he was defending a bridge in France when he was captured by the Allies and sent to a prisoner of war camp in Cultibregan, Scotland. By that time, he was 19 years old. The local Scottish school children were curious about this young man they saw each day behind the fence of the camp. He looked no different than they did, and was not that much older than them. They felt sorry for this boy on the other side of the fence. He spoke to them, and they spoke with him, and a friendship developed. They all looked forward to their frequent conversations between the holes in the fence. The other children told him about their daily life and about the movies they had seen. He told them he had never seen a movie. This shocked the other young people, and they decided to take things into their own hands. One morning, they took their bicycles to the fence and looked for their friend. They told him they were going to smuggle him out for the day. One of the girls had brought her brother's school uniform and threw it over the fence to him, telling him to change into it quickly. Young Heinrich was thus transformed into a Scottish schoolboy. Through a hole in the fence, they helped him out, and they kidnapped him for the day. To his absolute delight, they took him to the local cinema where he saw his very first film. He thought he was in a dream. This was the best day of his life. Those young people remained friends, and their daily visits through the hole in the fence continued to be the highlight of young Heinrich's life. In 1945, he was transferred to other camps in Scotland, and in 1948, 3 years after the close of the war, he was finally freed. But the pity that those young Scottish students had shown him affected him profoundly. The hole in the fence had proved large enough to allow hearts to touch. Lifelong friendships had been formed. Friendships between people who were officially enemies. Like so many Germans after the war, Heinrich found himself unable to return to where he was from, since the borders had drastically changed. Eventually, he settled near Bremen, but it was in Cultibregan, Scotland, the place of his imprisonment, that his heart remained. For at the lowest point of his life, people had taken pity on him there. People from a different land, a different tongue, a different side of the war. People whose hearts were willing to open to someone on the other side of the fence. Over the years, he returned regularly to the place where he had found both imprisonment and kindness. The whole place was so beautiful, he later remarked. It went straight to my heart, and I thought, why have I been fighting this bloody war? When he died in 2014, at the age of 90, his ashes were scattered in the hills overlooking the old prison camp in Scotland. And when his will was opened, it read, "I would like to express my gratitude to the people of Scotland for the kindness and generosity that I have experienced during my imprisonment of war and hereafter." The people of Cultibragan discovered that he had left them his savings of $500,000 to care for the elderly of their town. The compassion they had shown came back to them, as it always does, came back to them 1,000-fold from the compassionate heart that theirs had spawned. "Have pity on me." The cry heard so often in the gospel is echoed daily in every corner of the world, over every fence and every wall, across the lines of battle and the divides of race and age and faith. Every fence has a hole big enough for hearts to meet, big enough for misery and pity to kiss. Let us find that hole, open that heart, and unleash into the world the infinite compassion of God.